Hello guys, and welcome back to another Yaa Yaa video. As you can see, I am back from having my silk press, and yes, my curls are actually thriving very well, if I do say so myself, and I am loving how they look. And if you hadn't seen from today's title, you will know that today is more of a sit down chatty one. Seeing as the discourse at the moment has been so much about hair, and also people trying to find different avenues and probably trying to figure out their hair themselves. So we're pretty much gonna get straight into it. I often hear so many different people have loads of different opinions on what natural hair is and on what like the benchmark is for someone to call themselves natural. And if you know anything about me, my whole promotion is for you to have a great, beautiful and healthy relationship with your natural hair while still having the hair freedom to do what you want and to have fun. So if you're looking for a video that's gonna bash that, it's not gonna be found here. And if you're looking for a video that's gonna give you an excuse, it is also not gonna be found here. I'm here to find that balance. We're going in the middle. Because if you are trying to have hair or grow healthy hair at least, which is what I am all about, then you're gonna have to try and have a look and consider that you might actually fall into a category of natural hair for your current season. So I know I'm gonna be talking for a minute. Let me just, 2 liters of water, baby. Okay, now we're done. Let's get into it. Natural hair really isn't one size fits all. And what you might want for yourself today is probably not what you wanted for yourself 5 years ago, and it may not even be what you want for yourself in 5 years' time. In everything, you want to make sure that you're finding the right balance, as I mentioned, between hair health and hair freedom. You don't want to put yourself in a box, because that is how you end up resenting your natural hair and not wanting to learn anything about it, or even just having a great positive outlook in general. Finding balance between healthy hair and hair freedom is my motto. It's my catchphrase. It will forever be what I champion, and it really has helped me understand each season that my hair was going through, and each season that I was personally going through that related to my natural hair. And remember, you are not confined to any one of these states at any given time. Like, you don't have to stay with one thing for eternity. The whole thing is that your hair grows and you can pivot from one category to the next. And if you don't want to be confined to it, you have to understand that it's okay to move around. Know what your end goal is, manage your expectations. After doing a bit of research, looking at my own natural hair journey and just talking to some of my friends, I'm starting to understand that it's probably about 3 different categories that you might fall under if you've got natural hair. Number 1, you're prioritizing length. Number 2, you're prioritizing experimentation. And number 3, you're prioritizing minimizing manipulation. Let me know if there are more. Let me know if there are more, but I really do feel like every natural sort of fits into one of these 3 categories, and we're going to talk about it. So first, we're going to start off with prioritizing length. And surprisingly, prioritizing length isn't just about protective styling. In fact, it's actually alternating your style, so you're not putting too much tension on your hair with one style, and just sort of doing different hairstyles and doing different practices that can actually help you get the results that you want. You might find that if you're trying to maintain length, that you're probably wanting to stretch your hair a lot more often, which is probably doing things like bantu knots or twist outs or blow drying your hair to be able to avoid your hair curling up on itself and creating knots. You might wear your braids here and there, but I'd always recommend that your first priority, especially if you're trying to retain length, is to get your trims, find the right products that are able to help you build your bonds back up, which is like using more things that are like bonding protection as well as normal bonding treatments, and just trying to avoid the damage as much as possible. In this era, I would say I probably loved, and I still do love, using bonding treatments. I've said it before and I'll say it again. It has been something that I feel like has had a great impact on my natural hair and has allowed me to have a little bit more freedom, but also being able to retain length. If you're in this era, you probably also want to minimize straightening your hair too much, just so that you can avoid damage, particularly from heat, as well as probably dyeing your hair with permanent hair dyes. These are things that may look very cute in this moment, but if you are on your length journey, you're going to want things that will help encourage your length and minimize the breakage as you're going on. You're also going to want to take on and use practices that are not going to damage your edges. This is a big conversation, and I feel like a lot of the time we go on and talk about how protective styles elongate our hair, make our hair grow really well, but we avoid talking about these edges because, guys, at the moment, like consistent braids, yeah, like you're gonna get this. You are going to get this as an issue. Like right here, I have this patch in this section.
Ow! Jump scare.
And it's something we've got to talk about. I know that it's from braids, and I know that the more I do braids, the more I'm going to see that hairline recede. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna do braids because I'm probably going to get braids next month, but I'm definitely going to be doing a lot more hairstyles that are going to reduce the tension that will be on my edges, because there's no point in the rest of my hair growing if the front of my hair is just not gonna match, and I won't be able to wear my natural hair because the front and the back, they're just not adding up. So make sure you're going to the right people that are not going to put tension on your edges. And if you are going to a hairdresser, tell them to let go, leave some hair, leave some of the hair at the front out, because your goal is to retain length. Okay, so this is the next one, and I feel like this one is quite a fun one, but again, like I said, you've got to manage your expectations. So this is for the natural or the girly that is in her experimental phase. And this, I won't lie to you, it's probably not one that you can stay in forever, but boy is it a good time. The experimental phase is for the people that are dyeing their hair, the people that are trying out different shapes when it comes to their hair, going for a bob, going for a pixie, being straight naturals, and just trying out loads of different styles. And now I say, I'm not gonna lie, I feel like this phase, like I said, is the phase that you're going to really enjoy yourself. But with enjoyment comes the part afterwards where you've got to be a bit serious. I'm not one to say don't do this, don't do that with natural hair, because your hair is not a prison. Like, one of the things that gets me the most is when people try to police what people can and can't do with their hair. I feel like if you can promote something in a healthy way, go ahead and do it. For example, if you are in your straight natural era, you have to understand that the more you straighten your hair, the looser your pattern is going to be. Whether you want to call it heat damage or heat training, your curls are not going to be how they would grow originally from your head. And that's okay. It's just something that you have to manage. It's the expectations that you have to understand is going to happen. If wearing your curls is not your priority at the moment, it's completely fine, because this phase is not the length, hair growth, healthiest stage that your hair is going to be at. Let's just be so for real. So you're going to want to do, again, things that are important, like bonding treatments. If you're going to dye your hair, you're going to want to make sure that you're going to a professional that knows what they're doing, so they're not overlapping and doing things that are detrimental to your hair, so that you still have hair on your head. Like, you can go through the phase where you want to dye your hair, you can go lighter, you can go red, you can do whatever it is that you like. But sometimes you have to consider, if I still want hair in my head, is it good for me to do the box dye and the overlapping at home? Or should I just go and see a professional that can give me the desired look that I want and maintain my hair healthily? That can give me the tips that I need for my hair specifically, because I want to go through this phase of having fun and trying new things. Going back to wanting to be a straight natural, if you want to be a straight natural, again, bonding treatments. With everything, I just feel like my answer, bonding treatments, bond repair, bond protection, which are the products that are going to sustain your hair and make it stronger to prevent the damage from happening in the first place. You're going to need all of that, because chances are your current stage where you're experimenting with your products and with your hair may come to an end at some point. So you still want to have something to work with, you still want to have edges, and you still want to be able to have fun in this process and then go back to something when you're ready, if that is what you want to do. Because let's face it, if you are having a lot more experimentation with your hair and you are, for example, straightening your hair more often, and you decided to be a straight natural and you're going in with oils and then you're going back in with your straightener, chances are you're going to have to start from scratch when you're ready. And sometimes we can do some things that can actually avoid us from having to go all the way to the beginning and doing a big chop. As you guys know, I literally just came from a silk press. So some of the things that I learned, especially if you're a natural that hasn't got a texture release, like trying your best to avoid your hair from reverting is super, super important. Using things with less heat to have or achieve a really nice style. Like, for example, I used, as my hair was getting frizzier or losing its straightness, I kind of went in with this is a heated roller, and it gave me the most gorgeous luscious looking curls. I also used the L'Oreal Nourishing Oil. Again, not oils work the same. That one works really, really well when I wrap my hair with satin and with silk, and just gave it a really nice non-greasy feel. And then when I wanted to use heat to curl my hair, I went in with this. This is connected to my blow dryer. It is less damaging. When you're using it, you can still touch these plates. They are hot, but not too hot to touch. I could still probably put my hands around it if I wanted to, and I was able to get the curly definition that I wanted. So you can still maintain those sort of things without having to do too much, or without having to cause damage to your hair. Again, I know a lot of my girlies are in the era of cutting bobs and going for pixies as well. At the moment, length is not everyone's priority, and I feel like people need to understand that not everybody wants to have long hair. Some people just want to have fun with their hair. And again, I'm not gonna lie, I love me a pixie and a bob. They are so, so cute and they are gorgeous, and the girlies are wearing them very, very well. And lastly, we have our girlies that are in their era of minimal manipulation. And this may look like doing things like braids, protective styles, or even going to a hairdresser that deals with their hair for most of the time. It is really not a crime to not want to have your hands in your hair all the time. But please do understand that you may actually find issues if you are in your low manipulation stage and you decide to leave your hairstyles in for a prolonged amount of time. Like I said, All good things are good in moderation. Everything is great in moderation. A protective style is great in moderation. So I always recommend alternating between styles and making sure that you're not putting too much stress on one particular part of your hair. And I will also say, and again, I know this is up for debate, but if you're currently in this era, I would always recommend at least learning how to do some parts of your hair, at least learning how to work with your hair just a little bit, just in case you are ever in a situation where your hairdresser has cancelled on you or you're between styles. Like, just learn the basics. Trust me, it's going to be way more beneficial to you in the long run, because honestly, just having to rely on someone just to help you keep up with appearances is a little bit more difficult than you think. Because trust me, being in a position where you are completely clueless about something that comes to do with your maintenance, it's just never good. You're just going to cancel plans. You're going to have a bad relationship with your hair. And like I said, we're here for the health. We are here for the growth. And that's in mindset, not just in length. We're here to maintain healthy relationships with our hair and a healthy attitude around it. So just learning the basics can take you very, very far. So I'm not here to be that person that just says don't do this, don't do that, without giving alternatives. Again, if you're in this era, for example, and you want to wear wigs, there are some beautiful glueless wigs out there. Ones that won't cause you to have damage on your edges or even on your hairline or even the skin around your head. You can opt for glueless wigs. You can actually do cute hairstyles with a headband wig. You don't have to stick with the little piece of headband they give you. Do something cute. Get on a chunky headband, wear some nice earrings, do your makeup. No one will even know you're wearing a headband wig. There are things that you can do to alternate, to put less pressure on your hairline and your edges in general. And I also actually remember in like 2014 time, someone came out with this like skin color head wrap thing that had silk underneath it. There are loads of alternatives. It's just whether or not you want to look for them. In the long run, like I said, you may not be in this phase of wanting to be a low manipulation girly for a long time. You might decide that you want to be able to wear your hair out. You might decide that you want to be an experimentation babe. But it gets difficult and you end up being stuck in one category simply because you didn't focus on your hair health underneath. Because you should freely be able to decide that one day you want to wear a wig and the next day you might decide you want to cut off your hair and wear a pixie, or you want to get braids, and you should be able to do that with no issue. So really just focus on finding the right balance. Because I need you guys to remember, we can't deny it, there have been so many political and cultural practices that have made us look at our hair through a different lens. But honestly, I always say the choice is yours. It's up to you to decide how you want to look at your hair and how you want to maintain it. Because being in hair prison just isn't it. Like right now, I'm trying to figure out what phase I'm in. I'm not gonna lie, I had a silk fresh just before this and I had a great time. But right now, I think I'm going back to prioritizing length. At the moment, the front bits of my hair, I don't care. I cut them like nobody's business. This side of my hair, because I wear it predominantly in wash and goes and like this, I'm just trying to get my hair back to hip length just because it's a fun challenge for me. And that's how I feel right now. Who knows? Next year I might decide I want to dye my hair. And guess what? It's nobody's business but my own. But honestly, I had so much fun talking about this. This, I feel like, is a major conversation in our community. And I really just want everyone to have a different perspective and to look at it a little bit differently. Let me know what phase you think you're in at the moment. Let me know, like, this is a discussion, guys. We are open. This is not a dictatorship. Let's have a chat. I'd love to hear from you guys in the comments. But it is Saturday and I'm gonna get this out to you guys by tomorrow. So as I always like to say, thank you so much for watching, guys, and I hope to catch you in the next one. Ciao.